So thank you everybody for joining us today. We're going to be talking about smart data, logistics. Make sure you get your raffle ticket. Megan and Heather are going around and we're going to be giving away prizes. So you do need to stay to the end of the quick presentation to qualify to win your wireless speakers. So my name is Preston Hurd. I am a sales solutions consultant with Inside View. And we are going to be diving into a quick 10-minute presentation talking about the art of smart data, and then we'll open it up for any questions following that. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to be covering how data is made, different methodologies to acquire, to gather data, and we'll get into that specifically. There are 4 of them we're going to talk about today that data providers use to gather data, and then we're going to talk about why Inside View has the best, most accurate data that's out there. So first, let's talk about the 4 different ways that vendors gather data. Editorial. Think about the company firmographic information. Crowdsourced. Think of all of us here in this crowd right now where we are providing data. Web crawling, going out across the internet and pulling back information from the World Wide Web. And then last but not least, we all know about social media. And that's really more talking about the different methodologies, the philosophy behind data. Then we're going to talk about the quantitative aspects, the quantity of data, the accuracy of data in various benchmarks. So think of your own CRM, think of your prospects, your leads, your accounts, your customers, and your own database. What makes it good or bad? Is it the quantity, whoever has the most data? Not necessarily. Is it the accuracy? Probably. So think of these questions in your own situation and think about what's important to you for the highest quality and accuracy of data. Again, I mentioned there were 4 different ways to gather data, and most data providers primarily use one way, maybe 2 at the most. So for example, let's say that they use editorial combined with social to provide you their data. 2 different ways. Let's dive into each one, starting with editorial. You see on the right-hand side, the New York Times. Think of a staff, an editorial staff of people that are calling up companies, and they're finding out what's your address, what's your phone number. That's going to be extremely accurate information. The most highest possible accuracy. That's an absolute strength of this methodology. But what about the coverage? What about the freshness? I called, 30 days go by, I have to call again. Well, that's 30 days where I'm a little bit behind on the freshness of that data. What about the coverage? It is impossible for people to scale by making phone calls and getting firmographic information with the sheer number of companies that are out there and the sheer amount of data that you have to stay on top of. So while there's the strength of accuracy, there's also a couple of weaknesses as well associated with this model. Next, crowdsourced. Who here has heard of crowdsourced? Anybody? So we're all a crowd here, and we would all be users that would then provide information, provide data. But we would also not only provide it, but we would consume it. So you'd provide data, that's crowdsourced, but you would also consume that data and take that back. So there's a vast coverage there. There's a lot of us here providing information. And that's an absolute strength. But the accuracy and the freshness of that data is questionable. Let's say that you said my company has 100 employees, and you said my company has 200 employees. Well, what's accurate? Just because you said 100 and you said 200, I'm not so sure. Maybe that was provided a year ago and the company's grown and we now have 300 employees. Maybe that's the use case there where the accuracy and the freshness is subject to question. So what's next? Web crawling. This is the freshest possible way to get data. Constantly, real time, crawling the World Wide Web, scraping back the information. Think about the company About Us page, where you're going to find who are the governors, the CEOs of that particular company or the board of directors, and what's their titles. So that's going to be real-time fresh. We're crawling all throughout the day, every day, constantly. However, What about the accuracy and what about the coverage? When's the last time that you've updated your website? Maybe somebody on there has changed and you have a new person on there with a new title, so you've updated that. But it was probably updated on LinkedIn first. And additionally, coverage. I'm not crawlable. I'm not a CEO. I'm not going to be on our company listed there. You're not going to find me. What if I'm the buyer of your products? And last but not least, social. So let's think about LinkedIn. Let's have a raise of hands. We all have a profile. Let's have a raise of hands for who's updated their profile in the last 6 months. Probably all of us. What about 3 months? Keep your hands up. 2, 1. Who's updated their profile in the last week? Anybody? I have. What about the last 24 hours? Leave your hand up. Anybody? You are fresh. So congratulations. In the grand scheme of things with data, 1 week, 1 month, 1 day, that is extremely fresh information. So that's an absolute strength of gathering information through the social channels. However, what about the accuracy and coverage? So let's say you're a CEO. First of all, I get contacted every day. I'm a CEO. I'm trying to avoid having a public profile and avoid solicitation. So I may not even be out there. I may not have a public profile. In the United States, we are very vocal. We're very extroverted when it comes to social media. Other countries around the world have different cultures and may not be quite as public or extroverted in how they approach social media. So to review, we've talked about the 4 different methodologies, the 4 different ways to gather data. And now we're going to talk about how does Inside View do it? Why are we so great? Why are we better than anything else that's out there on the market? But before I answer that question, I want to talk a little bit about the philosophy behind data. Famous quote from Bruce Lee. Here it is. Absorb what is useful, discard what is not. And that's how we approach data. So we've got these 4 different ways of gathering data. And what we do, just like what Bruce Lee did with martial arts, is he took the best components from all these different ways of doing martial arts, of gathering data, and combined them into a hybrid of the best overall solution. Therefore, you're not having to worry about the weaknesses of each method to gather data. You're able to capitalize on the strengths for one overall, the strongest solution that's out there. And that's why Inside View is different. We take editorial, the accuracy of editorial. We take crowdsourced, and that is just the breadth of coverage, that strength there. Web crawling and social for the freshness. And we take each one of those components and we combine it all into how Inside View approaches data. And that's why we're better. In fact, from a quantitative standpoint, we benchmark ourselves. We measure the accuracy of our data quarterly and of our competitors. You see it all here combined. And so we publish this, in fact, on trust.insideview.com. Go there for a much deeper dive behind the methodology. We crawl and scrape and gather different data from over 30,000 different sources. And then we bring that back and we triangulate that off of each other to determine what's truth, and then we validate it. So you can get into all the methodology and all the different quantity benchmarks and the accuracy benchmarks is all displayed there on trust.insideview.com. Reviewing what we talked about, how data is made, our approach to data, and why Inside View has the best solution that's out there. So we will open it up to questions here shortly, but I want to encourage you to win free data. Please, everybody, tweet. Go and tweet at Inside View, #SmartData. Give us your thoughts about this presentation. #SmartData, tweet it to us at Inside View, and then we're going to search and then give you a prize of free data from those that participated in this. So without further ado, we want to thank you. We've got over 13,000 different customers that use us and we provide data solutions for. Encourage you to stick around, talk to, there's a lot of us here in red shirts, happy to answer any questions about how we can then meet your data needs and provide you the same similar type of a solution. And with that, we're going to close and we're going to give our prize away. So let's do the raffle. Everybody get your tickets out, and we're going to be drawing now a winner. Megan's going to help with that, so I'll go ahead and draw here. Thank you. So, everyone got their tickets. I'm going to call out the last 3 numbers, and you're going to win wireless speakers. Number 1, number 3, number 9, 139. Come on up, Vicki. You're going to win some wireless speakers. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Please come talk to one of us in the red shirts. Thanks so much.